250 games? Has it gone quick or?
Yeah, it's snuck up on me a bit this year. I must admit, when the season started, it just became about what's next and the following game and etc. So it has sort of snuck up a bit. I did have a look at the fixtures a couple of weeks ago and was very excited that I'd be celebrating my milestone in Tasmania. But albeit it's going to be a very exciting weekend, given two top teams playing off against each other. And yeah, but equally happy to get to the 250.
How close were you to giving it up at the end of last year? You did consider it, didn't you?
Yeah, I had some really honest chats at the end of last year with the coaches and the medical staff, the fitness staff, and really around whether I could physically get through another season of AFL football. And I think a lot of things were pointing to that I probably couldn't or shouldn't continue. But fortunately, I felt like I've made the right decision to continue this year. And I think on the back of having 3 of our key defenders go down, the fact that I've stuck around has probably been handy. So, but yeah, I've been thrilled with the decision to play on and to be around this environment for another year.
What was the medical advice that convinced you that you could go on?
It was really around management and particularly strength endurance through the legs and the calves. And I found that through the seasons previously, I've allowed a bit of that strength to kind of deteriorate over the season, given that you're quite sore post game and you find it a bit harder to push the leg weights in the gym. But there's been a real focus around keeping and maintaining some real strength through the season, and whether that means I have to back off a little bit with the training out here and just do a little bit more running off the side, which I'm sure you saw today, allows me to stay fresh and healthy and to be able to push some large numbers in there and keep the body on track.
Just that on that, you touched on running laps today, you're all good, but it's just managing that load. And is it your choice to run the laps or Webber's or?
No, nothing's ever your choice at a football club, but no, that's all part of the program I've been doing since the start of this year. I was running those laps in the week leading into round 1, so it's all been consistent and the same, and thankfully it's working.
Luke, at half-time the other day, you mentioned that guys might not have been prepared as well as they should have. There's been some attention around that. Do you want to clarify what you actually did?
No, coming off the ground at half-time, it's a bit of a whirlwind situation. You just played a half of football, and yeah, I made a few comments about the pre-match preparation. I actually haven't had a look back at the interview, but yeah, it was really around some of the basics and some of the things that the undisciplined acts that we seem to be making in that first half against Brisbane. But yeah, I clarified it to the playing group today and felt that it certainly wasn't the time to make those comments. I felt those sort of chats we have internally certainly here, but on the back of that, I don't think anyone thought too much of it at the footy club.
What was it specifically? Was it the guys were just too loose before the game, or they didn't have the right shoes on, or boots, or what?
It's probably a combination of things, but I think it reflected in some of our footy in the first half, and a few sort of situations which we found ourselves in, and a few pretty poor undisciplined acts and things like that, I guess, were costing us early. So yeah, it's probably just a reflection of that and a little bit of frustration, but certainly these are the chats and the conversations that we have daily inside these 4 walls.
Luke, is it a bit funny that you're playing your 250th against the Hawks?
Yeah, someone mentioned that to me the other day. I guess it is a bit ironic that it's turned out that way, but I'm not sure a lot of people would really remember that I used to play for Hawthorn. It's been 14 years. So, but yeah, I played the 12 games there at Hawthorn, and certainly a lot of water has gone under the bridge since then. But I guess you could see it as a bit ironic that I'm facing off against the old team.
I like to get a bit reflective in milestone games like this. So what do you remember about that period when you did make the switch from Hawthorn to Freo? Yeah,
well, I guess it was 14 years ago, so it is a little bit hazy. But yeah, it was around the, I think I was 19, just about to turn 20, and pretty injury riddled those early days, but certainly pretty thrilled at the prospect of coming home and playing footy in front of family and friends. And my dad and I had grown up watching Fremantle together, so it was in hindsight, it's been the right decision for me.
Given the recent history with Hawthorn, last couple of years, is there still a little bit of burning desire to whenever you play them, to step it up a notch?
In all honesty, it's just another game for me. I know you guys love hearing cliches, but it has been such a long time. There's no one there that I really played football with that's still
more
playing.
Recently, like given the grand final history and between the two clubs.
Sure, yeah. Well, I guess when you come up against any top side, you're really wanting to I guess, demonstrate where you're at as a football team, and this is an enormous challenge for us. I don't think we have the best record down there, so we're looking forward to getting over there. You know, they're coming, they're in really good form, and you know, we sit on top of the ladder, so it's going to be a top of the tables clash and probably the game of the round. And yeah, we're thrilled at the challenge. We love these challenges, and we'll go down there and give it our best shot.
Just in terms of matchups, obviously Roughhead's not out, and I imagine you're pretty happy about that in terms of not having to play. But who do you go to? Do you go to someone like a Gunston, or where do you sort of see yourself lining up? Yeah, we'll have to have a look at that. You know, the scary thing about Hawthorn is they have so many avenues to goal. So, you know, their smalls are certainly more than capable, and Gunston's a class player. So, yeah, we'll have to have a look at that through the week and how we all match it all up. But I mean, these days, defences, you find yourself rolling over a fair bit on the opponents that you play, and we'll have to have a look at the particular matchups a bit close to the day. So you haven't beaten Hawthorn down there in Launceston. Why do you think it's going to be different this time around?
Well, again, we can't think too much outside of what we want to bring, and we feel that we've been able to play some really good football at time this year, and we know if we bring our best effort and everyone sticks to their role, then we'll certainly have a good shot at it.
What have you made of Alex Pearce's early football look? Do you see a bit of yourself in him? A young you, perhaps?
I feel like he's a little bit fitter than I used to be. He's got an enormous tank. He's when we do the 3K time trial down here, he can run it, I think, at 10:30 or 10:20. So he's got an enormous running power. But yeah, I guess skinny and wiry is what you're pointing to. A skinny, wiry defender. He likes to run off a bit. Yeah, that probably is a bit reminiscent of a young Luke McPharlin. But I've been loving playing with him. He's a really wise young man, and given the injuries that we have had, to have him sort of slot seamlessly into the side and play his role has been great for us.
Has that been a bonus for you, a side effect of the injuries, that you've been able to get, you know, a number of games into him, and that he's looked like, or he hasn't looked out of place out there, has he? Yeah, that's right. You know, we certainly have found a player for the future, and he's demonstrated at a very young age that he's more than capable, and I don't think anyone's really got the better of him in his 5 games that he's played. So yeah, he's really showed a bit, and it is great for his education to come into the AFL side and all the learning that he's going to have through this phase before we get some of our more senior defenders back.
Still on your fellow defenders, whereas Dawson and Silvani saw Silvani out there again, and Dawson's, I guess, getting involved in ball, you know, more full-on team stuff. Yeah, they're pretty close. I had a chat with Zach.
Actually, I check in with Zach every week to see where he's at. But he sounds like he's getting his brace off this week, and hopefully play a game next week. But he hasn't missed a lot of running because he's able to run around out there and catch the ball one-handed, which I'm sure you've seen this morning. But so he won't miss anything in the way of fitness, but he just needs a bit of touch and gameplay. And Alex was out there this morning having a run and a kick as well. So both those players aren't too far away.
Luke, you've achieved so much throughout your career. What would it mean to be able to go out with a bang and maybe help the club get some silverware?
Oh, look, I mean, that's what we're all here for. We all want to play in finals and play in premierships. But again, you know, we can't get too excited about the future. I don't really think too much outside of this week. And, you know, we're looking forward to demonstrating where we're at against a quality side, and we look no further than that.
From the outside looking in, it seems like something pretty special is building here. What about from the inside? What can you kind of tell us?
Yeah, well, you know, I mean, ever since Ross Lyon has come along, really, we've seen a real shift at this football club, and we've played finals the last 4 years, and so there's certainly something that we're doing right here. But you know, ultimately, we haven't achieved anything yet, and you know, yes, we look pretty good from a win-loss point of view, but we've still got some big improvements in our football game that we need to focus on. So yeah, we've still got an opportunity, another 9 or 10 rounds to go to improve our football.
Yeah, the fact that you actually haven't been playing that well over the past 4 or 5 weeks, but still been winning the majority of games, do you see that as a sign of maturity, that the group still knows how to grind it out even when things aren't going their way?
Well, that's probably the positive that you take out of it, that we are able to grind out some wins. You know, Gold Coast got pretty close to us, and Brisbane on the weekend for 3 quarters. But certainly, you know, the football that we've played in patches in the last few weeks isn't going to get it done against the top sides, and we need to be able to deliver a 4-quarter performance, and that's what's going to get it done this weekend.
Just on Hawthorn again, like, I mean, they've had some rough patches in their own challenges, haven't they, this year? Do you still see them as a threat?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, to echo Ross's sentiments, after the game. They're still the team to beat. You know, again, they've achieved so much in the last few years. We haven't achieved anything, so they're the team to beat. And you know, we know they've got class players across all their zones, across the field, and great leadership and well coached and well drilled. So yeah, they present an enormous challenge to us.
Did you think you'd get to 250, Luke, given your injuries earlier?
No, I didn't think I'd get to 50 actually. We were joking about it with my physio this morning. He was concerned I wouldn't get to 50 games. So yeah, to get to 250 has certainly exceeded his and my expectations. But yeah, again, it's just another game for me this week. I'll certainly be exciting to have the kids there with me and walk them out through the banner. But once all that is out the way, it's the ball bounces and it's business as usual.
So when you say physio, you're talking Jeff Boyle?
Jeff Boyle.
How important was he, A, to getting you here, given the osteitis pubis you had when you arrived, and B, sort of making you a more durable person, I guess, over the journey?
Yeah, he was instrumental. He seemed to be well ahead of the game in terms of his understanding of particularly osteitis pubis, which is the condition I had back in the day, and so he had some really good understanding of that condition and how to manage it. And you know, thankfully I haven't missed a game with that condition since. It's all just been a bit of soft tissue and a couple of knees, etc. So yeah, he's been instrumental in my career, and I owe a lot to him.